Hello, good morning, OrbisX family. I'm joined today with Billy the Greek for November. I had to address the mustache. First off, Shawn from OrbisX, founder and CEO. And Billy, what is your position at
Yeah,
CPOS?
so I manage the inside sales floor, and I've worked with Shawn here for just a little bit over a year now, in the integration with Orbis and the partnership that we have between both of our companies. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All started with a really nice hockey game.
yes,
Which is
we
good.
did do that.
Yeah.
That was our last night.
Oh, yeah. How was the game?
It was great. It was Ottawa versus Vegas.
Yeah, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember it was Vegas. Yeah.
It was a
And,
good game.
So what was the score? I didn't see it. So.
Ended up being it was 5-1 at one point for Vegas, and then it was 5-4. The last 5 minutes was insane.
That's
it was
crazy.
insane. Yeah, it was just
That's
the
nuts
whole
too, 'cause
stadium
the
was
game we
losing
went
their
to see
mind,
ended up similar like kind of situation too.
Yeah,
That's nuts,
it's fun.
man.
And then you're so close, and it's you can actually see the sweat coming off the
Yeah,
player's face.
Oh man, that is wicked. Did they have mustaches too?
No,
No.
no, they definitely did. They definitely did.
Yeah.
Um,
This is by choice,
but yeah, that's like a hockey thing. All the
Yeah,
guys, they got to look as disgusting as they can.
That's true.
Long
Yeah,
hair.
yeah.
I'm trying not. I don't play hockey.
Yeah. You could now.
I
You
could.
got the look for it now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. And for those of you that don't know or are new to CPOS or CPOS, I'm never sure how to say it. Let's start there.
Yeah, it goes both ways, really. CPOS is an acronym that I use a little bit less.
Okay.
At CPOS, it's originally it was Canadian point of sale,
Okay.
but
yeah.
we brought it back, and it's just CPOS now.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Yeah. And so one of the industry leading payment processors, not just for detailers, though, for a wide range of
Everybody,
industries, pretty much everybody. And at the moment, backed by, one of the largest financial institutions.
Yeah, Elvon. It's the bank that does all the processing for Costco. It's the third largest bank in the world, I believe.
Yes, I'm the first. So anyway, the reason that OrbisX decided to form this, partnership in a way with this integration is because we wanted to save detailers money out there, of course, on the processing fees, but also offer some reliable technology moving forward. Now, sometimes bank technology doesn't look as flashy per se as some of the other, payment processors that are kind of set it up at home, do it yourself kind of thing. But the difference is dramatic once you start making some serious money. And when I say serious money, that's not a huge amount. I mean, you can obviously process for anybody making any amount, but you'll notice significant savings around the $5,000 threshold.
Yeah, it's about there. It's anywhere between 4 to 5 is where the percentage really helps and kicks in.
Yeah.
It's not just that though. It's the services that come along with the process too. It's having the ability to have a support team that's there and not have to text or send an email to people and
then wait
hear
days to hear back.
same day. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to accomplish and have that service readily available.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. And some things that I've heard, because I do know some people that had some positive experiences with some of the other, I'd say solely digital providers, like Stripe and Square, for example. But I've heard some horror stories as well, where there's been shops that have had, $80,000 locked up. I've heard fraud of accounts where it's, my Square account got shut down and there's like the 80 grand that was just gone. And I'm like, what do you mean it's gone? They said, well, they said there was fraud on the account and it's going to take months to diagnose this. And that whole time they've got to pay their staff, they've got to pay vendors, they've got to pay themselves.
No, of course.
It's a nightmare. And not having someone that you can directly communicate with makes it really difficult.
For sure. Yeah, no, I see it all the time. And it's one of the biggest headaches for a lot of people.
100%.
I was dealing with a customer yesterday, not related to Orbis, but they had $13,000 funded, and that's their livelihood.
Yeah.
That they couldn't actually get because they paused it through Square.
That's crazy.
And that you just hit it on the head. You got to pay your employees, you got to pay yourself, you got to put a roof over your head for your family.
Yeah.
Everything along those lines. So what we're trying to do is have the ability to have all of the tech the small or large companies have, and provide it to the small to medium-sized businesses with the 24/7 customer support.
Absolutely.
And not run into these holds that are unforeseen, and next thing you know, you're scrambling to put food on the table.
Yeah,
right. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's one good thing too with so we use CPOS for our own businesses as well, for our shop and so on and so forth, and have been for quite some time actually.
Yeah,
even before OrbisX existed.
Yeah.
And a great thing there is we benefit from the low rates, of course, but also our deposit frequency, things like that. So like Stripe, I think they make you wait like 3 days or 7 days.
Yeah, it's sometimes 3, sometimes 7. It really depends on the mood that they're in. With us, it's 24/7 customer, or not customer support, sorry, 24-hour next day funding.
Beautiful.
So if your account closes your batch at the end of the night, it auto closes at 9 p.m. in whatever time zone you're in. That will be in your account the next business day. So the only time that it doesn't come is Friday nights. It'll be there Monday. And if it's a Canadian-based holiday, it would be there the Tuesday if the holiday was on Monday.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's the only time there's a little bit of a delay for the funding.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's typically the next morning.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, and some other cool things too, I think, is that with things like that, where you have to do a batch settlement, is that if you void a transaction before, you're not dinged any fees. Whereas with these online providers, most times, like even if you process a refund, they're still keeping the fees. They're like, thanks. And so even if a transaction goes through by mistake and you have to refund it or just cancel the transaction, it's not canceled. You still pay for a portion.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it's
chargebacks as well. That's a big thing. It can happen, and especially in the detailing industry. It's a lot of banks will consider detailing one of the higher risk tiers of businesses, and so for that they deal with chargebacks differently. It's really difficult to win cases at times, but I'll put it this way: it's impossible pretty much if you're dealing with one of these virtual providers. Whereas when you're dealing with banks, there's a much different process that goes into play. So that's where that would be handled element.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big question that a lot of people ask me when I'm initially talking to them on the phone. It's very rare that we see them, but we do see them. They come through. It's the nature of the business. Somebody got a hold of someone's credit card, on someone's computer. But we fight them, and typically we will win them. And if you don't, there's obviously something bigger that's happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's like I said, it's very rare. So it's not something to worry about. Yeah.
100%. So got some questions for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Question one would be, when someone okay, so first off, your role is primarily in the sales side of things. All right, so perfect. So when someone signs up, they go through an onboarding process. What does that look like? What can people expect?
So with Orbis related clients, we'll stick to that because that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Typically I'll get your contact information from either you or you'll reach out to me. There's a sign up form that I think we had. And then I'll just either send an email, give you a call, and we'll go through the generic, see what your problems are right now with your current provider, if there's anything of extra value that I can add to the situation that you're currently experiencing. No matter what, it's going to be a process of just gathering a little bit of information. For the US clients, it's imperative if you are an LLC, you would need your EIN number and your SSN as well. If you're a sole prop, we can just run it under SSN. Generic information, get the application put through, a couple signatures on a document, send it through for approval. Once that comes back, we have a whole team that's set up to do the boarding and not necessarily the installation. They'll get you all the information that you need to get underway through OrbisX as well.
Okay, perfect. And then that's where support can step in if you run into trouble where you need some help to get your credentials put in. That's where I could help you out, or other members in the group. I did make some videos on that as well. Yeah. And then most of the other parts are just plug and play, really. And we will have more in-depth tutorials that we're going to do during another visit where we show you on the terminal how to set things up and stuff like that. But okay, well, that's awesome. So then once they're onboarded, what happens next? They just start swiping.
If the world was perfectly easy, the terminal, when you get it in hand, it would work right away. There's a process that we've created, which is the PIC middleware, which connects the terminal to the OrbisX app.
And kind of like a bridge between the two.
And right now, what we would be doing is using it on Android devices. And the Android device would just be a generic tablet. I've got one in my bag over there. I can grab and show you after.
Okay, sure.
Where it just connects the terminal, and you'll be able to send the payment from the finances page on your invoices tab, and it'll auto populate. You take the payment. Once the payment's done, it'll send it back to the CRM, and it marks your invoice as paid, and it gives you the thumbs up.
Big thumbs up.
And 24 hours later, you get your coin.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we do at our shop.
Yeah.
So we have the tablet set up, and then we also have a Chromebook as well that we're doing it through there, because on the Chromebooks you can install apps and so on and so forth. But yeah, so we've set it up that way with Android. The iOS version is coming as well.
It is.
There's to address that issue as well, because there's some members that have been patiently waiting, and thank you for your patience. dealing with something like this, because it is financial data, there's a lot of security levels that we have to go through. There's a lot of hoops. There's a lot of it's not your typical build of something that's just a regular integration, like, oh, I'm adding Google reviews or something like that. This is a lot more in depth, and there's a lot more moving pieces, as well as different organizations involved. Everything from Elevon to CPOS down to OrbisX. So it's taking some time, especially Apple. They also are involved and have their own processes that go, into payment related things.
Yeah.
So it is coming. It's in the works, and it's in the final phases right now.
We're
of the testing.
We're really close.
Yeah.
It's anytime there's a change that's made,
Yeah.
there's regulatory issues that pop up because we need to get everything approved. We can't just give a new product.
Yeah.
So every time we add something else or try to get it up to date, we need to wait for approval from the App Store to the bank, and then we've got to make sure it all works with us. So we are working on it, and I do hear you guys. It's underway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And trust me, we've got 2 members at my own shop that are using iPhones, and I would love nothing more than for this to be ready tomorrow. Trust me. But also because I want everyone to be able to have the, latest and greatest technology and, payment rates available with your current devices. And that being said, if you are in that situation where you've only got, Apple products or something like that, but you want to start using your tablet, your terminal right away, there are 2 options. And option 1 is the one that we're doing at our shop, which is you just use the terminal like normal, take the payment. It's just a couple extra steps. You have to enter in the amount, then you swipe the card, or tap or dip or whatever. And then on the invoice side, you just click add payment and choose offline payment and then save. That's it. So it's just like 2 or 3 steps, but you've got your money and life goes on. You're enjoying that, benefits of the reduced percentage in comparison to other service providers. The second option is to just pick up a cheap Android tablet or something, and then basically do it the Android way until the iOS version is done. So something like that.
Yeah, you can find them for $50, maybe
Yeah,
30 bucks,
absolutely.
sometimes 35. It doesn't need to be a flashy Galaxy S45 or whatever.
No, exactly. Yeah, definitely not.
It just needs to work.
Yeah, and that's what we did at our shop is we picked up the Chromebook. It just seemed easier. We just got that. And then when it's done, one of my daughters is going to take it over and use it for her homework. So
Sure.
long-term investment. But so there are options, and if you're in that position and you need something, just reach out to myself or Billy, and we'll try and work something out with you, figure out a way to make everybody happy.
So just to follow up to I know we spoke about the terminal, but the online side. So when you're getting the Converge account, you're going to get credentials that are sent to your email from our concierge team, which is the next step in the process. It's just a quick plug and play, and we did create the video on how to do it. It's only 2 minutes long. I'm going to have a document too that's going to be sent out from there. Just a couple screenshots, what goes where, and instantaneously, as soon as that's switched, you can process online.
You process online right away. Yeah, and then you're still benefiting from the savings there, anyways, because the online rates are. I try not to give rates in a video kind of thing, because rates do change over time, and if someone's watching this 5 years from now.
Yeah,
but put it this way, guaranteed you're going to save money in comparison to the other providers in 99% of scenarios.
Oh goodness, yes.
Yeah, easily. And so even if you were to only do the online product, which is at the moment called Converge, if you were to only do that portion of it and just process payments online, by sending invoice links or customers paying on the booking form, things like that, you're already going to be saving quite a bit of money just on those basis points there. But then getting the terminal is something I do recommend if you are, a shop or mobile as well.
Yeah, they're pretty fancy too.
You want to grab it? Yeah. And on that note, the terminals. So just pro tip, I guess. Because we had the terminals at our shop too, and there was recently an outage across Canada. Actually, I think,
it was Rogers.
Yeah. There were businesses you'd go to, and they said, "Sorry, we can't take anything except cash right now," because they just couldn't process anything through their terminals because it went through their Wi-Fi, and their internet was down because it was with this provider here in Canada that just. I don't even know what happened. It was just major disruption. Yeah. But our terminals were working because we had the GSM cards. And it was on a different network.
They run up Bell, and in the States, I think it's AT&T.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So I do recommend, and if you're mobile, you'll probably need that anyways. The device there.
It's quite simple. You can get it with or without the chip. Recommend
Look
this
at
tip. But it's
He's got a mustache and he's already showing us his moneymaker. I had to.
so thanks for coming, guys.
So yeah, it's but they're good terminals.
Yeah.
They charge fast, and here I'll just show like so you know they charge fast. They can work fully plugged into.
It's about 8 to 10 hours battery.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's 8 to 10 hours of money making. And I mean,
Yep.
and then you just plop it on the thing, and it can work while it's plugged in.
Yep.
Because that's what we do. We usually just leave
Leave it there. Yeah.
on the thing. So if it, you know, if you're using it and stuff like that, you can always just plop it back on, and then you can continue. It's not like you have a battery problem where it's going to die. They're very easy to set up as well. And then there's the PIC middleware. So it's basically a bridge. So how it works, I'll just kind of explain the tech side of it. There's OrbisX as the app. Then there's CPOS for your payment processing. Okay. And to connect those two together, because we're dealing with hardware in this case, so we need a bridge that is telling one form of technology to talk to another form of technology. And that bridge is called PIC middleware, which was developed by CPOS for this purpose.
Yeah.
And then OrbisX, we've coded it to work with that bridge. And so it basically, sends the information to the bridge, PIC middleware. That sends it to the terminal because those two are connected. And then it sends back success or fail. So fail, it'll display the error message, and then it'll also display on the terminal as well. But then if it's a success, you get the thumbs up, and then your money's
In your account.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty straightforward process, and that's how it's working on Android right now. And soon as all these regulatory things get approved and the final testing is done, then it'll be the same on Android as well. Or on
iOS.
Apple.
Yeah.
iOS. There we go.
Yeah, no, it's pretty simple too. It's a tap, swipe, insert. You've got pretty much an iPhone screen on the front.
Yeah.
It looks like about the size of one too.
Yeah.
These days,
You
they keep getting a little
those
bigger.
phone calls.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah,
But yeah, and that's a solid device too. Absolutely. And so on that note, because there are rental agreements with the devices.
Correct.
What happens if my device breaks?
So with the rental agreements, if it's a hardware manufacturer or a hardware issue, it's on us. We'll get you a new machine. If it's dropped due to negligence
Drop
or
in the toilet.
it's maybe a card declined by a merchant and he took it and fired it against the wall, stuff like that, maybe not so much.
Absolutely.
It's
I guess a good way to think about it is kind of like a phone warranty in a sense.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
if it's something, defect in the phone, or the phone breaks for those kinds of reasons, then it's something that obviously gets replaced. You throw it into the ocean because for whatever reason, not covered, so, but absolutely. And I will say that we've had, it's been 7 or 8 years now. We've been, when did I meet Max? Yeah, quite some time. Anyway, about 8 years, something like that. We've had 2 or 3 devices just fail over time. They just, anyway, they were faulty for whatever reason. Max literally replaced them right away.
Yeah.
And so it was simple, easy. And I think we had like 6 going at the same time. But so we were still able to keep our business going, but we needed, anyway, it was dealt with very fast.
That's part of our team too, the customer service team.
Beautiful.
That's who you reach out to. They data line everything that you need, get the information on what's going on with the terminal, sent back, or one would be sent out to you, then you send the other one back on a shipping label, which we got covered too. We'll print the label.
Perfect. Yeah.
It just comes right back, and then you're still processing within like maybe 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
It just depends on
where you are and stuff. Yeah.
But
so on that note, because when it comes to support stuff, I know I get asked a lot of questions about CPOS and how do I set this up or do this, or how do I change the settings in the terminal. I know some things about it, but I'm definitely not the expert on like all the settings in the terminals and stuff like that. I usually, when I'm asked, I have to try and find the answer and then come back to you, because sometimes it's stuff I haven't set up myself. So the best place to go for those kinds of questions, if you click the help button in the OrbisX app, basically there's a little section that says CPOS, and they've got the phone number and the email where you can submit the ticket. If you're doing something by phone, I still highly encourage you to submit a ticket to the email. Regardless, it always helps to have a paper trail. Sometimes you might have an email rep that's able to get back to things for CPOS, that would be your channel. It would be reaching out to their support team, and they've now added new members to the team as well. They're in training at the moment as well to be able to handle any overflow that comes in. But that's definitely the place to go and follow up there. If you'd like me to, be involved to assist somehow, you can always CC me on that email thread as well, with my email, no problem. I've encouraged several people to do that because sometimes technology, they're just not sure what to say or what the right terms are. So I can definitely help out with that. But being involved with that team helps, because if you message Billy, for example, or you message myself, like, because we don't have access to people's accounts and things like that, we're kind of like, I'll try and get someone involved that does have access. So it's one more barrier, one more hurdle. And sometimes too, if like Billy, what he normally does is he does the onboarding part of things. So if he's busy doing the onboarding stuff, sometimes a support issue, someone will ask him something, he sends it off to support, but then it's just kind of out of his hands in a sense. It's like, well, he's done his part, he pass it on to support. The best thing to do is submit the ticket directly. And then that way they're speaking with the owner of the account, and they have access to your account, and then they can help you most appropriately. So that's the way to go.
Yeah, I couldn't say that better myself. That's exactly it. And it is 24/7 customer support. So we have full access on phones and emails at all times.
I'm pretty sure that's the total number of hours in a day.
Oh yeah, I think so. Last time,
you're good.
We don't sleep. So
it's beautiful. I love it. No, me neither. And on that note, it goes the other way as well, is that their support reps are getting fielded a lot of questions relating to the OrbisX app itself. How do I, create an appointment or something like that? Just random questions. They're not trained on the software. Most of them haven't even seen the software. They just know that we're one of the integration partners, and they help with the payment terminals and the,
online
stuff. The online payments, the API credentials, onboarding, those kinds of things. Why is my terminal not working? Or, stuff like that. That's their department. The OrbisX questions, that's where I send them to myself, post in the group, Facebook. I'm always there. Plus I handle things by SMS, email, direct Facebook message, everything but a bat signal pretty much. I'm working on that though. But so all those kind of questions, please send them to me. Their staff is trying to help, but they really don't know the answers, and I'm sure it's frustrating on both sides. On your side for not being able to get an answer to something because they just don't know, and on their side for constantly getting questions that have nothing to do with their business. So that's where the best thing to do is just reach out to me directly, and I got your back. Don't worry. And then if it's something with the terminal, reach out to the customer support team at CPOS. They've got your back as well.
Yes. So, again, couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, there we go. See, I'm pretty good at this. Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much. We wanted to have a sit down and introduce together, so you can see a face to a name. Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to get lost in things where it's like, oh, I'm talking to someone behind a keyboard, but I don't really. So helps to see things. But then also, I definitely wanted to vouch for CPOS because I've been using them for quite some time now. Very happy. And have things been perfect along the way? No, there's been some bumps in the roads too. Like I mentioned, we had 2 terminals that had failed a couple of years ago, but they were replaced, and things happen. We're all human. And if you feel like, something falls through the cracks or something, the best thing to do is just follow up, and it will get dealt with 100%. I know that the rare time there has been an issue, I've followed up and said like, hey, we got to get this addressed. And it's like, oh, I sent that over to the support team. Let me follow up on it. Billy follows up, and then you don't know there's an issue, then we can't fix anything. And if something falls through the cracks,
exactly, the best way is just reaching out to that line immediately.
That's what they're there for.
That's why we have the team in place.
And they're equipped to deal with all those things. And like every organization has their specialty, and not organization. What I mean is every department in an organization has their specialty. And the best thing to do is if you have support stuff is head to the support team. And that's why I'm giving this information, is so that you can get the best support for your situation, whatever it happens to be. If it's something OrbisX related, the best way, reach out to me directly. If it's something with, your terminal or your payment credentials, best thing is click on the help button and then submit a ticket using the email that's there for CPOS, or call the number. But as I said, submit a ticket and call the number, not one or the other. I would do both if you're going to do that. Like if you're doing the phone call, do an email as well, because paper trail helps, and then you
Absolutely.
have things for record, like, hey, I reached out this time and didn't hear back, whatever. Really helps versus phone calls. Sometimes it's difficult to. They might have even mentioned something and you don't even remember. You're like, oh, geez, what did they tell me I'm supposed to enter in here? And then, so email is usually best, would be my guess when it's.
Even with the emails too, just attaching screenshots of stuff that might be wrong.
That's
They really
true.
do that.
If
over
it's
the
saying,
phone. Yeah.
something's going wrong with my account, then of course the next question is going to be what's going wrong? And then it's like, oh, well, something's not working. Okay, what's not working? It's going to be, you're going to be feeling like you're playing cat and mouse here, and it's really not the case. It's just more information is needed. So the more stuff you can provide up front, the better. Because even on my end, I go through that too, where someone will say like, oh, my SMS isn't working. Well, I've got 50 questions that what it could be. And so I'm like, well, what's going on? And then we find out it's like, oh, your Twilio account didn't have a credit card on file. So that's not really an OrbisX related support thing.
Absolutely.
But to get to that part, I had to ask, 50 questions. So the more information you can give definitely helps. Absolutely. And so, but we're always here to help. And that doesn't mean that Billy's a ghost. So he's very much here.
I'm alive.
Again,
I'm not just a name on the other side of or a voice on the other side of the phone, rather. But
absolutely,
this will be gone next time.
So he will look different. Just changing his appearance slightly. but yeah. So, anyways, thanks for your time, guys. CPOS definitely something you need to check out. The rates are incredible. The customer support is phenomenal, and if you use those right channels, then you're going to get that same experience as well. And then, the hardware, it just works. It just works, and you're going to save money. You're going to get your batch settlements the next day, so you have your money in your pockets. You're not going to have some, random hacker take over your account or something, and then, your account gets frozen with all your money. These kinds of things don't happen, and you're dealing with the third biggest bank. We already discussed. I'm the first. I think there's Elon Musk, and then
absolutely.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
Pretty
Oh boy.
So yeah, I know. That's big ambition. Grant Cardone told me set big goals. Yes,
I love it.
See, speak it into fruition. But see, even my shirt,
Mr. Gervais.
Mr. Gervais. In case you're ever wondering, because I don't wear other people's brands. That's Mr. Gervais. I'm a special breed.
We'll Photoshop to put in the chat.
Sorry. It is a championship. They had to sneak it in there, but see, my logo's bigger.
Yeah, that's fair. I love it. I love it. We'll plug in the sign up link at the bottom. We can get a lot of you underway.
Absolutely. I just want to do this. It's going to be here.
Yeah. There, somewhere.
I know, because people will be like, just use the sign up link below, and then you go to the page and it's up here.
We'll put it everywhere we can.
Yeah, exactly. It's next here. Well, thanks guys for your time, and look forward. There will be a follow-up video to this where we actually show you how to set up everything on the terminals as well as your phone.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much. Yeah,
good
pleasure,
stuff, man.
Take care.
He's real.
Yeah.